Apache HTTPD web services. Now we are going to configure this Apache. Apache is used to configure the web server. This Apache HTTPD is one of the most used web servers on the internet. And a web server is a daemon that speaks the HTTP or HTTPS protocol. That means it uses to speaks with the protocol HTTP or HTTPS. This is the daemon. This is called web server. Now a text, it do what? It speaks the protocol, a text-based protocol. This is a text-based protocol for sending and receiving the objects over the network connection. Now the HTTP protocol is sent over the wire in a clear text. It goes on to use the clear text communication using the port number 80 of TCP BY. We can change it. We can change the other ports also. We can configure it to use other ports also. Then there is also a TLS or SSL SSL TLS encrypted version of the protocol called HTTPS, and that uses the port number 443 of TCP by default. This is default, but we can change these ports. These are the default port 80 for the normal communication and 443 for the default communication, the secure communication. This Apache HTTPD sometimes just called Apache or HTTPD. So sometimes it is also called Apache, only Apache, or sometimes it is called HTTPD also. Implements a fully configurable and extendable web server with the full HTTP support. The functionality of this HTTPD can be extended with modules. Modules, that means it is also called modular server, because we can extend the functionality with adding the different modules. These are the small pieces of code that plugged into the main web server framework and extend this functionality. So for increasing the functionality of the web server, what we can do, it is also accept the modules. We can add different modules to add different functionality. It comes with the default modules, lots of default modules which give us the lots of default functionalities, and also we can add more. Then on RHEL7 Apache HTTPD, it is provided in the HTTPD package. So if we want to configure the Apache in our RHEL7, then it comes with the HTTPD package. The web server package group and also the web server package group will install not only the HTTPD package itself, but also the HTTPD manual package. So when we are installing our RHEL7, and at that time if we have selected the web server option, a package of web servers, so it will not only install HTTPD, it will also install other packages also. In that it install the HTTPD manual also. Then once the HTTPD manual is installed and the HTTPD services are started, then the full Apache HTTPD manual is available on this URL http://localhost/manual, and this manual has a complete reference of all the configuration directories for HTTPD along with examples. This makes this an invaluable resource while configuring the HTTPD. So when we install this package HTTPD manual, so it will comes with the whole manual for the whole configuration of the Apache HTTPD, and it is available when the HTTPD services are running. Then it is available, we can access that by using this URL. Now the Apache HTTPD configuration, how we'll configure this in our RHEL7. So when we can configure the Apache with a single default site, and also we can configure the Apache with the multiple virtual sites. So if we want to configure the Apache HTTPD for the web server, so we can configure it with the default site, that is what the single site we have, or we can configure it to support or create a multiple virtual sites in a single server. So if we want to do this, so first the package which we required is HTTPD. HTTPD package we required, and first we have to install this package to configure the HTTPD in our Apache in our RHEL7. Now this is our Linux, this is our server, and we are going to configure the Apache HTTPD on this server. Now for configuring the HTTPD, Apache HTTPD, we should configure the DNS server first because it needs to resolve the names. So it is a we can use the host file also, but it is not recommended. Host file, we can still use the host file, but using the host file is difficult for the big network. So we should use the DNS because it needs the name resolution also. So we should have to configure the DNS before doing this HTTPD, and then we can do what? We can configure the Apache HTTPD here. So first make sure the DNS is working. So I will do what? I will check my server name, that is it working. So I'm getting the reply from the DNS server, and the DNS server is working properly. So we can go on to configure our Apache HTTPD. Now the first package which required, the package which we required is HTTPD. So I will check that whether the package is installed or not. So I will go by this list yum list HTTP star, so that it can list all the packages. It starts with HTTP. We can do it by using the RPM command also if we have not configured the yum. Now it shows that what packages are installed and what packages are available for installation. So the main package which we required is already installed, HTTPD, and the HTTPD tools is already installed, and manual is not installed. So if you want to get the manual, then we should install the manual also. So if we want to install, so what we do, and if it is not installed any packages, so we can install the packages by using the RPM command one by one, or we can install it by using the yum command, all their features, all the dependencies. Now this command will do what? It will install all the packages and with the dependencies. So the HTTPD packages are all installed, the devel and manual is installed with all these dependencies. So the package requirement is fulfilled. So we know the packages are installed. Now we know we want to know that what are the important files we have for this Apache HTTPD server. So I will list the main package, that is Apache the HTTPD package. So when we list, we can see all these files. Now in this we can see here, this is the main configuration directory HTTPD, and under that all these configuration files are there. Now what are the configuration files are there here? First, in that HTTPD we have two directories. One is conf and the other directory is conf.d. Then under the conf directory we have the main configuration file, and this is the main configuration file for the Apache HTTPD. So if we want to configure anything, so we can configure it from here under this configuration file. Then this another directory we have, that is called conf.d. Now this one is actually a drop-on directory for configuration files. Like if you edit directly the main configuration file, so sometime what happen when this HTTPD package updates, then these default configuration may change. That means the default configuration, we did the configuration on this main configuration file, so it may sometime changes. So the administrators do what? They create the additional configuration files in this config drop-on directory. In this directory, if you want to add any configuration, so we can add by using any name, but at the end we have to add .conf. So whatever the file under the .conf, this conf.d directory, which having this extension .conf, the all files will be loaded in our HTTPD server. So whenever service starts, so it loads all the configurations from these files. So if administrator does not want to effect or does not want to change the main configuration file, so they can do what? They can change the configuration files. They can create the new separate configuration file for the under this conf.d directory. Like for example, we have some files here. This is for the auto index, this is for the user's home directory, and this is for the welcome screen. So when our server will start, it will read all these configuration files. And if we want to add some configuration, so we can also add here, or we can change directly this main configuration file. Now when we change the main configuration file and our software updates, then sometimes the software updates and they recreate the default file, and it can, maybe sometime it will remove your old configurations. So in that case, if you don't want to lose the configuration, so administrators do what? They create their configuration under this conf.d directory. Then there is one more directory there, it is called conf.modules.d directory. Remember the Apache server, this Apache server is a modular server, and it comes with the different modules. So we can add different modules. There are some default modules already there. So this directory has the configuration files. This is the drop-on directory for the configuration files of modules. Like these are the configuration files here, and this configuration file has the configuration to load the modules, like which module you want to load. Remember, the modules do what? It adds the additional functionality. So you can have the control here that what functionality you want to add into your web server. It is not like it is going to load every module, because you don't want to load every module, you don't want to add every feature which you don't know and which you don't configure. Otherwise the hackers or attackers, they do what? They use those default things. So if you add some feature, if without your knowing, if some feature is added and it is working, so it will work on default settings and the attacker can exploit that default settings. So we don't want to add the feature which we don't know. So we want to add only those features which we know. So these configuration files decides here that which modules to be loaded. This is for the basic modules. These are the dev modules, LUA modules, npm, proxy, systemd, CGI modules. Now these are the default things. If we want to remove, so we can remove some of them. And this is the main configuration file. Then the log files are locating here. So when we any log generates for this Apache server, so it is going to be logged here, and the module directory is this. So all the available modules are located under this directory, and this run directory has all the running PIDs. Now and also this is for the log rotation settings, for the rotation of the log. This is for the cleaning of cache. This setting defines the cleaning of the caching for this web server. Now these things, these three directories, these are not a directories, these are actually linked. Let me show you the configuration directory first. So I will open another terminal here. So let's go to the configuration directory. This is the main configuration directory, and when we list here, so we can see here these directories here. The main conf directory, which contains the main configuration file. So this is the main configuration file, and under the conf.d directory we have some configuration files here for the default configuration related to different settings. And we can see here we have different settings here, and when we install some services, so they also create files here. Like we install the package for manual, httpd.manual package we install, so that manual package also created the conf file here. It is not created by httpd package. If you see in here, there is no file mentioning the manual.conf here, because it is the manual.conf file is not created by this httpd package. It is created by the manual package, httpd manual package, and it has the configuration for storing or opening or managing the how to open or how to run the manual page. Same as we have this NSS, this is for the NSS services configuration file which is integrated with this. It comes with the other package. Rest of the files are for the HTTPD package. Then we have the other directory under the conf.modules.d. We have the modules configuration files. Like for example, if I open any file from that module directory, let's say base modules, so we can see that it is saying that these are the base modules, and this file loads the most of the modules includes with the Apache HTTPD server itself. So these are the default modules, these are the base modules which is need to be loaded, and this file defines those modules here, that these are the modules which should be loaded, and these are the modules which is not required by default, so they are commented here. So if we want to load some of them, so we have to uncomment them. Just like the other files are also there, which defines the modules for the different services, different configurations. Then the directory for the logs, you can see here, it is not a directory, it is actually a link file. The directory, log directory, modules directory, and run for running PIDs. Both are the links. If we use long listed, then we can see here, it is saying the log directory is here, but log directory is actually located under var log HTTPD. So any log which is generated by this server, it is going to be stored into this directory. Then same as for the modules, it is not loading the modules from here. The actual directory for the module is this. Then also for the running PIDs, the directory is this. These all three only a link. So these three is only a link here, but in the main configuration file, it has mentioned the link. It has not mentioned the original path. It has mentioned only the link. So if any logs is created, so in the configuration file, it is mentioning that this path, here it is going to be created. But here means what? It is actually creating under this directory. Same as for module and same as for run. Now when we go down here, so we can see the service file here, and this is the service for our Apache server, Apache HTTPD server, and this is called httpd.service. So if we want to start the server, so we will start this service here. Then these are the module directory. This is the actual module directory here, and this is the real path of the module directory where it has all the modules stored. Then we have some init scripts here, then we have some commands here, and then we have the documentation here. And we also have these, under the documentation directory, we have HTTPD directory. That directory contains one more directory called error, and these are the error files. So you have seen that when you're trying to access any web server, and if it is having any problem, so you will get the error. You will see the error pages. So these are those error pages. Like for example, you are forbidden, you are not having permission to access the site. So you will see this. You will see this page. If you see the bad gateway, you will see this page. Bad request will show you this page. So it is all is what it is. These all are the error pages. Then with the error pages, you have these icons also. These are GIF file, PNG files. These are the images files like GIF, PNG. So these are the icons files, and these are the icon files which shows in that error pages. Or we can also use this for our website also. So these are all icons we have. Then after the icons, we have some man pages here, and there is one more important file is there. It is called no index file. It is also important. I will tell you why. Then we have these man pages for the commands. Then we have the caching directory here. Then we have the dev directory here, the log directory, the actual log directory. Then this is the default root directory for our website. our web server, our HTTP server. Default root directory. Default root directory, that means any website data we have, so we will put that data into this directory. Into this directory we can put all the website related data. Now website related data, that means the data which you get from website developer. Website developer will do what? They will develop the site, they will design the site, so they will give you the site, the whole data for the site, like all the pages, images, icons, sounds, videos, video clips, everything they have used in the site. So they will develop the site and application, and they will give you a single folder. In that single folder they put all the files and they will give you that. Now our job is to do what? Our job is to host the site. So for hosting the site, we'll do what? We will put that all data into this document root directory, this website default document root directory. Now here we will put that directory, and we will mention the directory path in our configuration file. So anyone who's trying to access this web server, they will get that application, they will get those web pages. Then we have these CGI bin directory for CGI scripts file, and then this is the default sites document root directory. This is the default site, this is the document root directory for the default site. Default site, that means when we start the server, so it will start with the default site, default single site, and all the data for the site will be here. It will be located under this directory. That means our server will look for the files under this directory. So whatever the data we have for our default site, we have to put it into this directory. Now these are the main configuration, main important files and directories we have for Apache HTTPD. Now I want to start the services, I want to start the server with the default settings, and we will see what is the default setting. So what I will do here, I will start the server first, then I will show you that what is the default setting we have. So for starting the server, what we will do, we will start the service. The service name is HTTPD. Right now it is loaded, but it is inactive, dead, and by default it is also disabled. So whenever our server starts, it does not start this service. So what we will do now, we will start the service now. Now we have started the service, and now we'll check the status. Now once we check the status here first time, so we will see one error here. This is the default first, this is the default setting. And what is the default it is saying here? We are seeing some warnings here. We are not seeing error, we can say, we are seeing the warnings here. Now what is the warning? But the server is started normally, it is already started, the services are running, server is started, but it is having some error here. It is having the error about the HTTPD KDC proxy, and it is saying the warning here, but we are not able to see the whole message here. Now why we are not able to see the whole message? Because it is saying it is cutting here, the size is not proper. So what we have to do, we have to use -L option to see the see the full warning. So I will use what? With status, I will use S. Now we can see the warning, a full warning. First it is saying unable to connect to a DIR SRV server, time exceeded. Then also warning, it is saying disabling KDC proxy. It is also disabling the KDC proxy. Now this is because the IPA package is installed and it is trying to connect the KDC, and it is not able to connect because we have not configured that one. And it is because the package we saw in that config file. Now these two warnings are for the KDC proxy. Now the third thing is here, it says it is HTTPD related. Now this is not related to Apache server, it is related to other service, and it is related to other service. It is trying to connect that other service because of the package which we have installed, and because of this file here we have configured. because of this IPA package is already installed, IPA service is running. So because of that it is trying to connect this, but normally you will not see error. You will not see this error, you will see this one. This one will be the default error you will see. It says could not reliably determine the server's fully qualified domain name using this linux 1.example.com. So it is saying that it is not able to define the server name first, that it does not know what is the server name, because in the configuration file we have not configured any server name till now. So it is not able to define the server name, and it is going to use the current server name, the server which is we are running right now, the service. So it is taking the name of the server is the current server where we are running the services. And if you don't want to see this error every time, then you have to set the server name directive in the global configuration, in the global directive globally in our main configuration file. So in our main configuration file we have to configure this server name. Otherwise, whenever we restart the services, we will see this error. So by default server's name is not defined, so we have to define the server name so that it can get the server name, and it will not show you this error. So whenever we reboot, whenever we restart the service, we will always see this. Otherwise, until we add the server name into our main configuration file. This is the default thing. Now these errors are from the other services, is not related to this. It is trying to connect the KDC proxy. This server trying to use this IPA service, trying to use this HTTP as a KDC proxy, and the KDC is not available, so it is trying to connect it and it is disabling this. So our web server is disabling it because there is no KDC. So this is the different service error, but whenever we start the service, by default we will see this error because of the server name. So if you don't want to see this, then we have to configure the server name in our main configuration file. We have to define it globally. Then our server is now running, that means our web server is running with the default settings. Default settings, that means a default setting with the default site. Now the default site data will be under this directory where www is the default document root directory for our default document directory for our whole server, and the default site document root directory is this. Now under this you will not see any files, but we are seeing some files here. We have copied these files here, but by default you will not see any file here. These files are moved from some other directories, but these are not related to Apache server. If you see the files which we have, which has come by by installing the HTTPD package, so this is not the name, this is actually created. I will do what, I will remove all these files. This is not the default one. Okay, so by default when you see the directory, it is empty. There is no configuration, there is no application data, there is no website data is there. There is no website data in this document root directory of the default site. Now when someone try to access this server, so the server will do what? It will try to see the files which is under this default document root directory for the default site. Because our server is running in the default settings, so it will only give the access of the default site, but the default site data is not available. By default there is no data. Now what happens if someone try to access the server, try to access the website? Now this is our second machine, this is our client machine, this is our Linux 2. Now first we should check whether we are connected to the server or not. It is connected, and also we should check the DNS is working or not. DNS is also working. So what we can do, we can try to access the site. Now when we try to access the site, so we need to go to the browser. So we'll go to the browser here and we'll try to access the site. Remember, there is no document root there is no data in the document root directory. That means there is no website configured there. But the server is running, and the services are running. Web server is listening on the port, listening on the service, listening on HTTP. So let's try to access it. So I will give HTTP :/ and then I will give the IP address of our server. We can give the name also, because the web server, the DNS is working. Now when I give this, what I see here is unable to connect. Now this is because of the firewall. Firewall is running, so we have to make sure the firewall is allowing the HTTP traffic, otherwise you will not be able to connect. So we have to configure the firewall to allow the HTTP traffic also. Now when we check firewall, so it says the DNS is allowed and other things are allowed, but it is not allowing the HTTP. So we have to allow the HTTP, and for that we will run the command firewall cmd. I want to allow it permanently. Add the service HTTP. And if you are configuring the HTTPS, then we can allow the HTTPS also. Right now I am allowing HTTP, and then I will reload the firewall. And now it is allowing the HTTP services also. Now we will check again from the client side that what we see when we try to access the server. Now I will try again from the client side, and now we see this page here. Now we have not configured and we have not added any data into the default document root directory there for the default site, but still we are seeing this page. Now this page is actually the welcome page. Now what you are seeing here, you can read this, that if you are the website administrator, then you may now add the content to the directory, that is what, where www.html, that is your document root directory. And note that until you do so, people visiting your website will see this page and not your content. So to prevent this page from ever being used, follow the instruction in the file, and the instruction in this file, that is under the httpd conf.d directory, and this is what the welcome.conf file. So this welcome file is coming because of this welcome configuration file. And everyone who's trying to access your server will see this page until you add your document content, add your website content into this directory. Now what is the website content? Website content, that means you will get the content from the developer, and developer will give you all the contents, and then in those all the contents you will see it will define the home page that is defined by the developer, that this is our home page, and we have to make sure the home page name is index.html. Remember, we have to make sure the name of the home page file is index.html, because our web server by default, whenever Apache server, our HTTPD server try to find the home page in this document root directory, so it will try to look for the page file, the name of the file is index.html. So any website you access, what you see is first the home page, and after that home page, what we do, on those home page you will see these links like this. You will see the links like these. Then when you click on these links, it will open another pages, another links, another sites or whatever. But first what you see when you visit any website, you see the home page. So the home page is our responsibility is hosting the home page. So home page name will be index.html. We have to make sure the home page name will be index.html, and all the other HTML files, all the other pages, all the other images, whatever we see on that pages, it is designed by the developer. They keep that all file into the same directory and make that home page file name as a index.html. So when you have index.html file under this document root directory for the default site, then it is not going to show you this page. It will show you only that home page. It will only show you that home page. Now this file is coming because of this welcome page. This is this welcome.conf. Even there is no file under this directory, it is showing this file. It is showing this page. So where this page is coming, so that page is coming because of this conf file, and I said all the configuration files from this directory is going to be loaded, and this file is also loading, and because of this file we are able to see that welcome page, because in our main document default document root directory we don't have any home page file or any other content. Now what is inside this welcome.conf file? So when you see that file, so it says that if we get the 403 error, that means if your home page file is not found, that is index.html, so it will open this file which is no index.html. Now this file, it is open from this location, usr share httpd no index, and under that no index it is index.html file is there, and this is the file it is opening when we are not having any index file, any home page file in our main document root directory. That means we are getting document error, no file, getting error 403, and because of that it is going to open this file, and this file is basically the alias. You can see here it is an alias, it is an alias of this file. So this is the original file which is opening. So if we want to see this file, so this is the file which is under usr share httpd, the version for httpd, oh, not here, it is httpd no index, and this is the index.html file. So when you open the file you will see this HTML coding, and this is the coding which we are seeing that side. Now to verify this I will show you some changes here. I will do some change here. Let's say I will change the background color. This is the hexadecimal code for the color of the background. I will do what? I will change the color to, let's say, green, and then I will save it. So I just changed the color of the background. Now let's see what is the change in the client side. Now this was the hexadecimal code for this color in the background. Now I changed that background color to green, so I will refresh it here, and we can see the color here. Now that means what? This is the same file which is we are seeing that same file. So that is the design, that is the hexadecimal code, this is the HTML code. Now if we have an index.html file in our document root directory, then we will not see this file. So let's create the document root directory, the home page file in our document root directory. So this file is showing here because we don't have a document root directory inside our we don't have the home page file under the document root directory. So there is no file. So I am going to create one file here, and the name of the file must be index.html. Now here you will add your home page coding, like you will do the HTML coding, CSS coding, whatever you do here. You will design your home page, or web developer will design the home page, and it will give you the home page here. Now I'm not a website developer, so I'll do what? For testing, I will add a simple text here that this is my default website. It will also work. So it is also going to show me this line. So I created a file here, and for this we don't have to restart the services, because this is the file which we have already we are created the file, and it is the file for the index.html, and we have not done any changes in the configuration files, so we don't have to reboot the services. Now we'll go to the client and we'll try to refresh and see what it shows. Now it was showing this welcome page. Now I will refresh it here, and now it detects that home page file, that is index.html, and now we can see that line here. This is my default website. So this is coming from that home page file. So if we want to configure a single site, so we can use that default site for configuring a single site. We can put all the document data in the website document data into that /var/www/html document root directory, and we make sure the home page file is named as index.html. So whenever anyone accesses the server, it will get this home page first, and in the home page, as a developer has developed it will or designed, it will see the links, it will see the information, and when it clicks something, it will open another page, and that page will also be in the same directory, so it can also be open. Then other links, other images, other videos, plays, whatever the designer have designed. So this is how we can host a single site or the default site. We don't have to do anything, we don't have to change any configurations, but only the one thing we have to change is that the server name. We have to add the server name into our server main configuration file, but that will also not make any difference, any problem, because it is already using the current name for the server name. Still it will work, but if you don't want to see that error every time when you reboot the services, so we should do what? If we don't want to see that error every time when we reboot the services, so we should do what? We should name the server, we should add the name of the server into the main configuration file. So we see the error here that says could not resolve the server name. So if we don't want to see this, so what we will do, we will open the main configuration file here. And this is the main configuration file. So let's go through with the main configuration file and what configurations we have in this configuration file. And what we do, we will not do any changes, we'll do only change that we add the server name there. Now the file starts from here, and it has a lots of comments, informations regarding the server's configuration. So how you can do these things, how you can configure these things. So you should read all those things. Now the first configuration which is enabled here, it is deciding the document the server root directory. Server root directory, that means where it is going to load all the configurations. So it is here under this etc httpd. This is the main root directory for the HTTP server. This is our the Apache HTTPD server. So it is defining here. We don't have to change that. Then here it is deciding that which port it is going to be listened globally. Globally, that means for all the sites or the default sites. So it is using port number 80. It is using the port number 80 by default, because this is the default port for HTTP server or HTTP protocol. And if we want to change it, then we can change it from here. But this is for the default site. Now here it is saying that include all the files from conf.modules.d directory. Name could be any, but at the end it must have this .conf extension. And by this configuration, it is doing what? It is loading all the configuration files related to modules from this directory. Now this directory is under our server root directory, that is etc httpd. This is our server's root directory. It is already defined there, and under the directory we have these directories. So it is loading all the configuration files for the modules from this directory, and it is defined here. So whenever we want to add or remove some modules, we will add the configuration into this directory by using the name dot any name dot conf. Then next, when you go, it is defining here the username and group for the server. To run these services, the username is Apache and the group name is also Apache. So if we are sharing any document, any data with our web services, with our Apache HTTPD services, so on that data, this user or group must have at least read permission. Otherwise, it is not going to access those data and it is not going to share the data. So it is defining here that these are the user and group. So you have to make sure you give a proper rights or proper permissions for the data you are sharing with this service. Then main server configuration here, it defines the server admin email address here. That means this is the email address for the server admin. It is saying root at localhost. This is the default for the root user of this local machine. So anything goes or anything any error or any problem comes or anything, so it will send the mail to this email address, and that is for the root user account of this local machine. If we want to add any other email address, then we can add here any other user or any other admin email address. This is the default address we have. Then here it defines the server name, and that is what is not defined. So because of this, it is not able to identify the server, because you can see it is commented and it is not applying here. So we have to make sure that we give the server name here, so that it will get the server name. It will know the server name, that what is the server we have. So every time when we restart the services or start the services, it is not going to try to find it, because it knows it here. And for making the name here, when we give the name of the server here, we have to make sure the server name is registered in the DNS and it is able to resolve the name. Otherwise, it will do what? It will not be able to resolve the name, then it will give error. So we have to make sure we give the server name here. So this is the only thing I am going to change here. So I am not changing anything, I am just adding the server name here. And this is our server name. And it is listening on port number 80. So I have just added the server name here. Others I have not did any configurations. Now let's see the other configurations which we have here. Default. This is the directory syntax. Now if we want to share or publish any directory from this Apache HTTPD service, then we have to define the syntax like this: directory open syntax and directory close syntax. With that, we have to add some options here. So if we want to share or publish any directory or data document directory, then we have to mention the syntax like this. Otherwise, it is not going to be accessed by the Apache HTTPD server. Now this syntax is for the root directory. You can see it is the root directory. And what it is saying here, allow override none. It is not adding any allow the override option. And it is saying require all to be denied. That means it is denying everyone for accessing this root directory. Now why it is denying this? Because the root directory is our main configuration directory. This is our root directory for HTTP services. It is defined in the beginning of this configuration file, the root directory, and here it is trying to save the root directory from unauthorized access, and it is directly denying everyone to access it. Then anyone to access it from the through the HTTP services, it is only can be accessed locally by Apache server, Apache user or Apache group. Then we go down, so it is defining here that this is our document root directory. This is our document root directory for the default site. Then this directory we are defining here, then is this directory must be also have for this directory also we have to create the directory syntax. Otherwise directory the directory directives or directory syntax, otherwise it is not going to use not going to share this directory also. So it is created here, the name of the directory is defined here, and also the syntax for the directory is created here. You can see the directory open here with the directory name, and then directory syntax is closing here. Now before that, before this document root directory, it is mentioning this syntax here for www this /var/www directory. That means this is for the relaxed access to content within this directory. That means any directory under this directory where www is going to be accessed by everyone, all granted. So if we want to create a new directory rather than this default directory, so we can create under this directory, and it is also going to be accessed by the Apache HTTPD server, because it is already granting the access for every directory inside this directory. This HTML directory is also inside this directory. Now we don't have to add any other syntax for this HTML directory, but if we want to add some additional configuration for this specific directory, so we can add the syntax here, which is added here. So the directory syntax is opening here like this, with the directory name, with the full path. Then it says this option here. Now option means what options we want to add with this directory server, with this directory. So the options by default added for the default directory is this indexes and follow symlinks. What options we can add? We can add none, that means no options, or we can add all for all the options, or we can add separate options like indexes, includes, follow symlinks, symlinks with owners match, execute CIG, or multi-views. So we can add these options here, and if we want to add all, then we can just say all, or we can add none for the no options. Now what these options do? Indexes means what? The remote user, the client machine which is accessing the server, they can list the site, list this directory from through the Apache, through the HTTP services. Now see, listing the directory means when we run this command ls like this, it is like this. It is listing the directory and seeing what is inside the directory. Now this is not secure. It is not secure because we don't want to give this right for the from the remote side, from the client side, because when hacker try to access the directory, access our website, they do what? They try to list the directory and try to see what other contents we have in that directory. Because remember, all your document data is kept into this directory. Not only the home page file, it is having all other files, and in some other files may contain some sensitive information which we don't want to show. They are there for only the authenticated users. So if some authenticated user wants to see that, they can see, but we don't want to everyone to see that. But when you give the indexes option here with this directory, then it will do what? It will allow to list all the files inside the directory, inside this directory. So this is not for good for the security. If you have this option enabled, then there is a attack called directory traversal attack. So that directory traversal attack can be possible because of this option. So if the website hosting, like the administrator is hosting the site and it has added this option into the site, into this web directory, the website directory, then that website is going to be attacked by the directory traversal attack. It is vulnerable to this directory traversal attack. Now why this option is available for this default site, and why this option is there? It is because for the development, like if suppose the developers are developing the sites right now, so sometimes they want to list the site, list the directory. So for them, the option, we put this option there, so they can develop, they can design the site, they can change the coding, then see, then change, then see, then change. Now after the site is fully developed, after the site is now functionally and it is available online, so we have to remove this option. We should not put this option. we should remove this option. If we forgot to remove this option, we will get the vulnerability, the directory traversal vulnerability. Then the other options are like includes, like including other files, including then follow symlinks, that we can add. This option is already there. That means it can load the links also. That means if suppose we want to put some big data into this website directory, and the data is from the other side, other directory in the other location, so we don't want to copy that data here again. So like there is a 10 GB data there and I want to publish that, so I will not do copy into this directory. I will create the link, and with this option it will detect the links also. So we don't have to copy data, we don't have to create more data here. We can just create the link for the data available in the other directories. And with this option it can detect the link, and with this option it can detect the link with owner's match. So if the owner is matching, then it can also give the access. Then this option is for executing the scripts, the CGI scripts, and also the multi-view option allow you to view the multiple options. Now we can define the options. Then after that, the next is allow override option. Now it is none here, but we can have all or we can have none. Now all means every option, that means we have options like file info, we have auth config, we have limit here. Now what these do, these options do, we can add separately also. We can add the file info that will reveal the file information. Then auth config will provide only the access for this directory only for the authenticated users. That means the site which is configured under this directory will be accessed by only the authenticated user. This directory will be accessed by only the authenticated user. Now authenticated user, that means the users which we allow them to access. Otherwise nobody else will able to access the website located under this directory. Then we can also limit the get and post request. So when the client try to access the website, they do what? They send the get request, and when they want to edit something into the client on the server, like it is a form, and like a form, when they want to fill the form, so the request after filling the form or after filling the username and password, when the user submits, it is actually the post request they do. So we can actually limit those things. We can limit the connections, we can limit the get and post request, that how much get and post request our server can accept. Now whatever we config here, whatever the option we give here under the allow override option, that will be needed this .htaccess file. That means, for example, I said auth config. So auth config means I am saying only allow the users which we want to allow, don't allow everyone. So here we just mention auth config. Instead of none, we will write auth config. We will not write anything here. Now we will not write which users we want to allow access. Which users we want to allow access, we have not mentioning here. So when we mention here auth config, so our server will do what? It will look for this file. It will look for this file under this directory, and it is a hidden file .htaccess, so that normally it will not show to anyone. But if you give this indexes option, then it will be visible for everyone. So we don't want to be visible. Instead it is hidden, but it can be downloaded. So we don't want to these files, these sensitive files to be downloaded. So we should not put this indexes option. Now what this file will have? This file will have the additional configurations. Like when I say auth config, so this file has the configuration about which users we want to allow. And when I give limit, so what will be the limits? It can be configured under this file. File info, it can be configured here, that what options we want to configure here. So whenever we give any option in this allow override here, so our server will look for the additional options, additional configurations on this .htaccess file. If it is not finding this file, then the option will not work. Then after this, the final thing is that which and who we want to allow this directory to be accessed, or the website which is hosted, which is inside this directory. So here we will give like require, and then we will say what we want to allow, like who can get the stuff from this server. So here by default it is saying grant all granted. That means the default directory, default document root directory is granting the access to everyone, but we can decide that who can get. So we can add the domain name here, dot domain name, like we can add star.example.com, so only our domain can be granted. We can add the network IP here, we can add the network IP or domain name here, so that only those will be those who can access the stuff from this server. And then finally the directory syntax is closing here. Now if we want to share any other directory, we want to add the default, we want to add the document root directory for other sites, then we have to create the directory syntax for that. Otherwise, if we create the directory under this directory, the var www, it is already getting the access, so we don't have to create anything for that. But if we want to add any extra configurations, so we can add the new syntax for that. Otherwise it is not having allow override option, it is not having any options, it is only saying that grant all. Then after this we have the other configurations, like it is loading the module for directory, and here it is deciding the document root directory, it is deciding the directory index file. That means what will be the file name of our home page, and here it is saying index.html. So if you want to, if your home page file name is different, then you should rename the file. Otherwise what we can do, we can change the configuration here for the default name. Then all the htaccess file, .htaccess file which we create under the directory, it is protecting that files by using this syntax. It is saying all the .ht files will be denied for everyone. Now these are the default settings. Then here the logging are enabled. This is for the error logs, directory for the error logs. Then for the warning of the level for the logs will be warning, and these are the modules for the logging and format, how which format it is going to be logged. And this is for the custom log, name for the custom log file. These are the module for the alias. When we create the script alias, we create the normal CGI directory. Here it is sharing this directory also, having the syntax. Then for the meme types, like what type of files which our server supports, it is defined under this file, etc meme type, that what type of file our server supports. It is defining the character set here, and this magic file is also for the meme type, like what type of files our server supports. Then the other configurations are default here. It is enable the send file on, and the include optional file. Now here it is saying at the end that optional files will be loaded from this conf.d directory. All the files which is having the extension of .conf with any name. So whenever we want to add any extra configuration, so we can add onto this drop on directory with any name .conf, and it is going to be loaded because of this configuration. So this is the main configuration file here, and we did not change anything, we did only added the server name here. Now I will save this, and for making the changes applying the changes, I will restart the service. And now when we see the status, it will not show that error for name resolution, for resolving the server name. So it is not showing that error here, that could not reliably determine the server name, because now it is determining the server name. It knows the server name, and this other services error is still there, but the server name is now found. So this is how we configure the default web server for the default website. Now the next thing is Apache HTTP virtual host. If we want to create a single site, so that is okay, but virtual host allow a single HTTPD server to serve content for multiple domains, and based on either the IP address of the server that was connected to, the host name requested by the client in the HTTP request, or a combination of both. HTTPD can use the different configuration settings, including a different document root directory also. So virtual hosts are typically used when it is not cost effective to spin up multiple, that is virtual machines, to serve out many low traffic sites. For example, in as hard hosting environment. That means if we want to configure multiple sites, a single like low traffic sites, it can be handled on the single server. But for configuring them, we need to create different virtual machines for them, because in one server we create one site. Now because of that, we can do what? We don't have to create the different virtual machine for every site. We can do what? We can create different virtual machines, different virtual sites in our single HTTPD server, and it is called virtual hosting. So for configuring the virtual hosting, these virtual hosts are configured using the virtual host syntax. It is the configuration block inside the main configuration. And to ease the administration, these virtual host blocks are typically not defined inside the main configuration files. So right now we have seen the main configuration file, and we have not seen any block like this, because it is not defined inside the main configuration file. But when you go to the previous versions of Linux, RHEL, you will see that syntax under the main configuration file. So it is now not available in the main configuration file, but rather in separate .conf files in the httpd.conf.d directory. So it is not available in the main configuration file, but we can create it under the drop-on directory for the configuration files here under this directory. Now we can create name-based and IP-based virtual hosting also. We can create the virtual hosting based on name, or we can create the virtual hosting based on IP addresses. So when we can configure the virtual hosting in two ways, like name based and the IP based. By default, every virtual host is an IP based virtual host. So by default, every virtual host is based on IP address, sorting traffic to the virtual host based on what IP address is the client had connected to. So the default site which we configured is basically the IP based, and that is why we access the site by using the IP address. So if there are multiple virtual hosts declared for a single IP and port combination, so the server name and server alias directories will be consulted, and effectively enabling name-based virtual hosting. Now for configuring the name-based hosting, we don't have to do anything extra in this server. If suppose we configure multiple sites with the same IP and same port, then the server will do what? It will check the server name directory for the server name or server alias directory in a configuration file to connect the client with the proper website. And then we can use the wildcard and wildcard also. We can use the wildcard and also priority. So if we have configured the multiple sites, so the IP address part of the virtual host directories can be replaced with one of two wildcards. One is _default_ or star. Both have exactly the same meaning. That means match anything. So that means what? If any request comes, so it is going to be matched for this any IP address. Or you can define the IP address, or you can define any IP address. So if you are having multiple IP addresses in a server, then you can give star directly. So it is going to accept the request for any IP addresses. And then what? It will define it will give the access to user, it will give the access to the client based on that the IP address with the name which it is accessing. So when a request comes in, so HTTPD will first try to match against virtual hosts that have an explicit IP address set. So first it will do what? It will try to use the IP based virtual hosting. So if it has a single IP, like for example the server is set for the IP address of 10.0.0.1 and the request is coming for 10.0.0.1 and there is only one site configured for 10.0.0.1, so it will give that site to the client. And if this matches fail, if this matches fail, that means if we have configured two sites for the same IP address, 10.0.0.1 has two sites configured. Now it will fail by giving the exact IP address. So virtual host with the wildcard IP address are inspected. Then it will check that is there any request for wildcard there, or if there any virtual host syntax is there for the wildcard. So if it is there wildcard saying against the IP address, then it will do what? If there is still no match, if it is matches the wildcard, then it will provide that website to the client. And if it is not matching that, that means if it is not there, then the main server configuration is used. If no exact match has been found for the server name or server alias directives, then there are multiple virtual hosts defined for the IP and port combination. The request came in on the first virtual host that matches the IP port is used, and with the first being seen as the order in which virtual hosts are defined in the configuration file. So if we configure the multiple virtual hosts on single IP and port, so it will check for the server name directory, and if the server name directories matches, then it will do what? It will give the site. And if it is not, then what it will do? It will go by the order it is configured. So first it will get the first site, second if it is there is a second site, so it will not give the second, it will give the first access based on the IP address. Otherwise it will go for the server name directories. Now when using multiple .conf files, that means any name .conf files, they will be included in the alphanumerical sorting order to create a catch-all default virtual host. So the configuration file should be named something like 00default.conf to make sure that it is included before any other. So if it is going to be added, it is going to be processed based on the numerical order, or it is going to be processed as an order, alphanumerical order. So if you want to configure multiple conf file and you want to load first configuration for the first site, so we'll do what? We'll make it like 00 default conf. Then for the second one I will say 01 dot default 01 default dot conf, like this. So it is going to process by the alphanumerical order. So we can create the separate files for each virtual host, or we can use a single file for the multiple virtual host. So if you want, then you can use a single file, don't have to create like the in order. We can do what? We can use a single site for the single file for the all sites. Or if you want to use a better configurations, better administration, so you can create separate files. Now what and how we can create the files? Now the one site is already running and we want to create another virtual site. Now if we want to create multiple sites with the same IP address, now creating the site for different IP addresses required the different IP addresses available. And if suppose your sites are accessing from the internet, then you need the public IP addresses. So it is not that cost effective to have multiple different sites based on IP addresses, because you need the IP addresses, public IP addresses, so that the site will be accessed from internet. Otherwise what we can do, we can create the name-based site. Name-based site we can create on a single IP address. And when we create the name-based sites on single IP addresses, then the names will be important. And the names will be important, and then the DNS will also be important, because the DNS will resolve the name. And that is why we need to configure the DNS also. Now, by default, it is not available in the main configuration file. There is no any configuration related to the virtual host. So we will create the new file under this conf.d directory for the virtual host. We can create multiple virtual hosting sites, and for that we can create multiple conf files also, or we can create a single file. In that file we can add multiple hostings. Now where we will get the whole syntax? We know the syntax is the block is this virtual host block. This is the block, but what is the other configuration values? For that what we will do, we can check the sample file. There is a sample file here, that which we can check here, that is under USR share doc our HTTP directory, HTTPD directory. Under that we have this sample file here, vhost.conf, and this is the sample file where we have the whole syntax here. So if we want to create the site for virtual site for the virtual host syntax, then it should be like this. So what I will do here, instead of creating the new, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to copy this into our into my main configuration drop on directory. So I will do what, I will copy this file into our document root, our root directory, and under that configuration drop on directory, and the name for the file I will give like vhost.conf. Name could be any, but it must be .conf, because .conf files are going to be loaded. Now I did copy it there, and now I will make the changes which is I required. So under the conf.d directory I created this file, and now I'm going to change as I required. So I will go on to change. Now these are all comments, I don't want to remove these. Now these are the important things, these are the syntax. So I want to create one, so I don't need this extra one, so I will delete this one. Okay, now I need this one here. So first the syntax is this tag is this virtual host, it is opening here and it is closing here, and in that it is having these different options. Now the first in this here, it is a star, it is again a wildcard character. So if you want to use the wildcard character, so you can use it, otherwise you can use the IP address directly here. Like I want to go for IP address. Then the port number, I will go for port number 80. Then the next line says who is the server admin. Now remember, if you don't mention this server admin, then it is going to take the server admin of our main configuration file, that is our root. Or you can mention the server admin here, like for example this is my server admin and that is root for this system. Now whatever the configuration we don't add here, it is going to take it from the main configuration file. These all configurations are there on the main configuration files. So I'm mentioning the separate configuration here. This will be the email, the server admin's email address. Now the document root directory. Now if I don't mention any directory here, it is going to take the directory of the default document root directory. But I want to create the different site in the different directory. So I will mention the directory for my site will be under default data directory in the var www, and this will be my site 1. Now the directory is not there, I have to create the directory and also I have to create the data in the directory. Now the server name is important here because I am going to use the same IP address, so the server name will be important. This site will be accessed by this name, and also we can create server alias, another name for our server. Now I don't need server alias, so I will remove this. I need only server name here. So this site is going to be accessed by this name, and now we have to make sure that name should be resolved by the DNS also. Now the error logs and custom logs, I will make sure the logs will have the name, so that when I see the logs, so I know that these logs belong to which server or which site. So this will be site 1 log. Now this is the syntax we have, and we don't have to give any other syntax now. This is the one which we this is for the another site. And now what we have to do, we have to do two things. We have to make sure the directory is created, and we add some document root direct document here, the home page file here under this directory, so that we can test. And this name must be resolved. So I will save this. Now first I will resolve the name. For resolving the name, I will go to DNS forward zone file. And I will add here new name here, that site 1 means this IP address. Then I will create the directory under where www. This will be our site 1 directory, document root directory, separate than the default one. And then we should create some data into it so that we can verify. So I will do what? I will create the home page file under this site 1, and that will be index.html. Remember, you will make sure the name of the home page file will be index.html. And then here we can create the syntax. We can add the syntax of HTML. Like if you know how to create the pages, then you can add here whatever the syntax you want to add. I created this syntax here, HTML syntax. We don't have to create this syntax because we are just testing it. So we can just write anything here, and it will be appeared there for just testing. Or you want, then you can create the syntax properly. So this is what the page we have created here under this directory, and this will be the home page for our this name-based site. Now we have to make sure we have added the name into the forward zone of the DNS. So we have to restart the services so that it will apply the changes. So first I will restart the DNS services, and then I will restart the HTTPD services. And I will verify the name is resolving or not. So I will check site1.example.com, and it is resolving. It is saying that this means this 19.1, the same IP address. Now we'll go to client, and in the client we can see the default is still working. Default is there. Now I will open one more tab for the other side, and first I will check the name is resolving here. So I will say dig site1.example.com, and it is resolving here. So I will try this by name, site1.example.com, and you can see this is the page which we have created there. This is the vhost for site1 and the site1.example.com. Now using the same method we can create multiple virtual host sites. Let us create one more. So I'm going to create quickly one more, and using the same method. So first I will open the vhost config file. Now I can create another config file for the another configuration, or I can use the same file and I can add the same file. I can add the new configuration in the same file. Now I am copying these lines, and then what I do, I will paste it here because the same thing is there. Now I will do the required changes. So the server admin will be the same. Now the home directory, the document root directory, I will change to site2. The name will be site2. So this site will be accessed by the name of site2, and the logs names will be changed site2 so that we can differentiate between the logs. So the configuration is done. Then what? I have to create the directory. Now I have already created the directory, so what I will do, I will copy the directory with the whole files, and this time the directory name will be site2. Now I did this because I want to copy the index file also. So the index file is also created under the site2 directory, and this is the index file. Now this is the same coding, so I will do what? I will change something like this is now for site2. This is site2 and the name of the site will be 2, and I will change the background color also so that we can see the changes. So this will be red, and now I will add the name under the DNS name.forward. Now here I will do what? Same thing here, only it is now called site2. And now very quickly I did this. Now I will restart both the services, name services and HTTPD services. And very quickly we created the another site. Now let's check it from the client side. Now this one is working. So if I refresh, it is still working. And I will open one more tab, and then here I will type site2 dot example.com, and you can see the site is also working now. This is the another site and this is the another site. So we have two sites working on same server only because of the two names. There are different names, same as we can create multiple sites. Now I will create one more site very quickly, but this time I will change a little thing, like I will go to the configuration file first. I will copy these 7 lines and I will create the new configuration here. Now this will be our site 3, but what I will do here, I will change the directory location. This will be our site 3, but the directory I will create not under the var directory, var www directory. Remember, the var www directory has already the syntax for the tag for the directory, but this one does not have. Now you see what happens when you do this. When you use the directory, when you create the directory in another location instead of this var www. Now I am doing the same procedure. Now I will do what? I will copy the file. I will copy the directory into site 3, but under slash. Now the file is under the site, okay, it is named as site 2. So I will rename the site, rename the directory with the site 3. Okay. So this is our site 3 directory. Under that we have index.html. I will change the required things, like this is now site 3. Site 3. I will change the background color also. Let's say yellow. Now I will add the name also under the DNS. So where named name.forward, and here also I will add the new line for this site 3. Now the names are, everything is okay. Now restart the services, name services and HTTPD services. Now we did everything right, but still we will get the error. Now we see this is still working. This site is still working. Now I will open new tab and I will try to open site 3. Site 3 dot example.com. Now what we are seeing here is the default welcome page. Now why it is showing the welcome page? Because it is not able to detect the document root directory. So this is why this is happening, because we created the directory in another location which is directly under slash, and that location is not shared. We have under the main configuration file, all the directories, under all the files, all the directories inside this directory is shared because it is mentioned in the configuration file. And when we create site 1, we create under this directory. When we create site 2, it is created under this directory, because the syntax for this is available in the main configuration file. So when we see the main configuration file, the syntax for this is already there. It is here. The directory syntax is already there. So whatever we create under this, we don't have to do anything else. We don't have to create the directory syntax. But if you are mentioning something else, some other location, then you have to mention the directory syntax, and that directory syntax you have to mention in that configuration. So here you have to add the directory syntax, like directory open, and then you have to mention the path and name of that directory. Then you have to add options. If you want to add, I am saying none. Then you have to add allow override option if you want. I don't want to add, so I will say none. I will say required, all, granted. That means I am only allowing everyone, but I have to add the syntax, and then syntax closed here. So whenever you mention any other directory, then under the var ww, then you have to mention this directory syntax. Now it is going to be accessible. Now we have changed something in the configuration, so restart the main configuration, the main services, and then we will check. It was showing the welcome page. Now I will refresh and we can see our main page now. So because we have mentioned the separate directory, so we have to mention that directory syntax for it. And one more thing can be a problem. One more thing can be a problem if suppose your index file, your home page file is having a different name, like site 3, it is index.html, which is default. Now I will rename the file to index.html to some other name, like this is my site3.html. I just renamed the home page file. Now when you check it from the client side, and when I refresh it, it is now again it is not detecting the file. So we have to make sure the file name is index.html, and if in case it is not index.html, then we have to change it into the configuration file. Here we have to add one more option, and that one more option is directory index, and then you have to mention the name of that file, site3.html, whatever the different name you have to add one more option here only for that site. Now we did changes here, so we'll restart the services and then verify it from client side. Now again I will refresh, and now again we can see the site. So this is how we can create multiple sites with multiple the name based multiple virtual hosts. And if you want to know the detail of your configuration in your this Apache server, then you can do what? You can see the manual page. It is available locally on the server. You will not access it from the other server or other client. Locally you go to the browser and type the http://localhost/manual and open this manual directory. It is actually a manual page where you can see the whole information of your web server and what you can configure. Everything you have here with examples. With examples you have everything what you can configure, like all security. Okay, this is virtual host. So when you click on it, you can see all these detail here. What are the syntax, these host, server name, alias, server path, and how you can configure the name-based sites. You have all these things with samples. So everything you have in the manual, you can access it locally, and this manual is coming because of that HTTP manual page we have in manual package we have installed. We have installed that package. Manual package actually. It is coming because of this HTTPD manual package. If it is not installed, then you will not see that manual page. So this is what Apache HTTPD web server, which we can configure here. We can configure the default site with only if you want to configure a single site, and if you want to configure a multiple site for a single server, which can be handled by the single server. So we can do what? We can use this virtual hosting, and we can use this virtual hosting. And if you want to see all, then you can run this command httpd-s. It shows that what sites we have configured. It shows what sites we have configured. For this IP address we have configured, this is the default sites. All these name-based sites we can see with all the configurations modules. So this is how we can configure the virtual hosting, that means multiple sites with the same name. If you have different IP addresses, then you can configure with different IP addresses. For different IP addresses, when you configure the virtual hosting, you just have to give the different IP addresses here. But we are using the same IP address, that means we are creating name-based sites. So this is our Apache HTTPD server.